Hello, I'm Joyce Nisbet. I live in North Wales and I'm a member of both North Shropshire and South Clwyd Beekeepers Associations. I'm also a BBKA trustee and a BBKA Honey Show judge. To give you a flavour of the display classes at the National Honey Show, this is a recreation of the Halloween-themed exhibit that I entered in Class 16 in 2019. My husband Tom and I have been keeping bees for over 30 years. Soon after we started, we were encouraged to enter the bees and honey section of Shrewsbury Show. We were lucky to have bees collecting tasty honey, and after some successes at Shrewsbury, we tried entering the National Honey Show when it was held at Kensington Town Hall. However, our entries were limited by what one of us could carry to London on public transport. So usually 2 jars of medium liquid honey, maybe 2 jars of chunk honey and some small candles. Each year we return to London with our kids at the weekend to enjoy the show, collect our entries and to go to a West End musical. One year, however, our return trip luggage was augmented by a special prize of a box of show grade honey jars. By the time we made it back to the crew by underground and train with 2 kids, our bags, entries and the box of jars, that extra prize didn't feel quite so special. We expanded our range of entries slightly once the show moved to Hendon, which we could reach by car, but by the early 2000s, family and work commitments meant a break from the National. However, I still managed to enter Shrewsbury Show annually, and showing there was the impetus to expanding my repertoire of honey and wax. Granulated honey, light honey, cut comb, 12 jars, sections, wax blocks, heather honey, and even some very poor mead. Once I was able to produce a range of honey and wax products, I moved on to the shop window display class at Shrewsbury. That show also had the class for a traditional glass-mounted display of honey, wax and bee products. And the glass display is visible in the background here. Such exhibits were popular early in the 20th century. North Shropshire Beekeepers has a set of glass and supports and has entered an association exhibit in this class for many years. These were group efforts led by my friend Joe. In 2009, Joe challenged me to source a stand and enter a display in the class the following year. So from almost 15 years ago, here am I with my first ever mini glass mounted display. A few years later, these had grown and I had managed second places at national honey shows too. The display class at the National doesn't have to be a glass display, but Class 16 is currently the most appropriate class for these exhibits. In 2013, the late Jess Howe and I had learned how to make beeswax roses at a workshop given by Liz Duffin at the BBKA Spring Convention. I didn't make it beyond roses, but Jess mastered gladioli and poppies too. In 2015, this led to a huge team effort involving almost 20 North Shropshire members to create a wax flower themed association entry both at Shrewsbury Show and at the National. By 2016, we had learned from John Chandler of Yorkshire Beekeepers how to create beeswax fruit, and the association team created a display with grapes, wine and mead for Shrewsbury. The similar display, but with more beeswax fruit and vegetables, caused quite a commotion at the National that autumn. One popular question was how we had managed such realistic bloom on the wax grapes. The answer was that we had merely abandoned them in a cardboard box for the couple of months since Shrewsbury Show. What visitors didn't realise was that all the other fruit and vegetables had been created 3 days before the show, with the realistic ends being painted on the carrots at our association AGM the evening before staging. In 2017, North Shropshire were defeated by the logistics of designing, creating, packing and transporting a display the 200 miles from North Shropshire to the National. It really needs 2 members to stage each display and to dismantle it. Then there's the issue of whether to stay on in London or drive home. However, the absence of an NSPKA display did mean my own entry won my first in that class. For 2018, there was a long-standing North Shropshire plan, with group creation and the co-opting of a friend for staging. Once the display was at the National, it was difficult to believe that it had been touch and go whether it reached Sandown. Then in 2019, association members went rather overboard, creating all the items for a beeswax teddy bear's picnic. Cheese, sausages, baguettes, cakes, fruit, crisps, not to mention cucumber sandwiches, beeswax bunting, wax wraps and a beeswax kite. There was honey too, of course. A well-deserved first place followed. In more recent years, the themes for my own displays have included the National Honey Show, thanking the National Health Service in 2021. Then in 2023, my display celebrated 100 years of the National Honey Show and welcomed Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal with a display featuring horses, yachts and rugby balls. The year before, I had offered my own tribute to our late Queen, complete with beeswax corgis.